With competitors like the Camry and the Accord switching to hybrid powertrains, but yet still trying to keep some element of sportiness, Hyundai is still hitting it hard with a turbocharged 2.5-liter four-cylinder motor and a dual-clutch automatic transmission for their Sonata. So obviously we're not going to see the fuel economy of those hybrid counterparts, but what sort of numbers can you at least expect cruising steady-state speeds here on the highway with the 24 Sonata N Line? Tonight we find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and tonight we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2024 Hyundai Sonata N Line. In this test, we're going to head out on the highway and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour to get a realistic fuel economy number for this sporty family sedan. But before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Yes, new styling for the Sonata for 2024, but still a pretty known formula for this one. You stick a big high horsepower, relatively speaking, motor under the hood of this. You try to keep the cost down in other elements of the car, and the result is a pretty fun and pretty practical sedan that is attainable for a lot of different shoppers. So if you do want to see more on the Sonata N Line, check the link below. We're going to have a full review. We've got a breakdown of the Bose 12-speaker sound system, a little bit of an infotainment review as well. All that can be found below. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which gives this Sonata N Line 32 MPG, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. We know there are plenty of people who use their vehicles for big miles on the highway and would like to know what sort of numbers you can realistically expect here in the real world. So in order to test that out, we're going to head over to the gas station here and fill up and go out and do 100 miles, come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. Now, a few things to note for today. Outside temperature is currently 77 degrees Fahrenheit, but that should drop down to about 70 by the time we finish up the test. Our tire pressures have been set to their door placard 35 psi cold, and we're going to run the climate control at 73 degrees auto. Navigating our new fueling station for this test. All right, let's hop out and fill it up. One thing that is nice about the Sonata N Line is despite it being a little bit more of a high performance spec, you don't have to use premium fuel with it. Regular is fine. Now you might see slightly better performance, I'm not sure, but manual says regular. 1.189 gallons is what we put in for our initial fill. And before leaving the gas station, we've got our GPS reset. We're going to reset the vehicle's trip computer, get our climate control set to 73, and we're ready to begin. Now we do have a few different drive modes here in the Sonata N Line. We've got normal, sport, and a my mode. We're just going to do this test in normal. We're going to take it nice and easy over to the highway. It's about 0.4 miles away, and pick up the test from there. Now the goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy for this car, but rather a realistic figure. So in order to do that, we're going to get up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace and set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 71 miles per hour. That should allow us to average 70 over the whole test. I don't appreciate that in the traditional gauge cluster mode here, there's no way to get a digital speedometer coming up. That's very antiquated in my eyes to have an analog speedometer with no digital option. Yeah, you can change the way the cluster looks, but then you lose all of the styling. It looks very silly and basic, so that's a bit disappointing. Also, it's looking like our car speedometer is very far off, like remarkably far. I'm gonna have to confirm this with a second device, but it's looking like 76 on the car is giving us 71 on the GPS. Wow, let me see here. Let's go. This is what I mean. It's very difficult to get a digital speed up here. You gotta go cluster theme, simple. There we go. Yeah, look at this. It says we're doing 76 miles per hour. GPS is only saying 71, 72. I've done hundreds of these tests, and I haven't ever seen a gap that large before. Okay. Well, not the first electrical oddity I've had in this Sonata so far owning it, or not owning it, but having it on loan. But fortunately, our phone projection is working properly now, which it was not earlier today. But other than that, settling in here, the seat bottom's a little short for my taste, but the rest of the seat seems decently comfortable. We do have Hyundai's excellent active lane keeping functionality, this lane tracing, and it's taking us nicely through the corners, so that should make this trip pretty much a breeze. Hearing a little bit of engine drone, but not too bad on the road noise. Alright, we're going to settle in here, test out the Bose sound system with the members-only tracks, and catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time-lapse of the entire trip.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the Sonata N Line. Yes, the benefits of having a sedan for highway driving, even though the EPA is around 32 for this car, 36.4 according to the vehicle's trip computer. Not, an amazing figure for a vehicle in this class, but it's at least doing better than that EPA number. I really do like Hyundais, but they don't usually get the fuel economy that some of the competition does. And I know this is a little bit of a higher performance model and stuff, but it's really not that high performance. And I mean, geez, you can get similar numbers in crossovers from some other brands. But either way, we'll get it back to the pump. We'll make sure that figure is accurate. But other than that, this is a nice highway cruiser. As I expected, really appreciated the active lane keeping. And as I did not expect, this Bose 12-speaker system is a huge improvement over previous Hyundai models. In fact, it might be the best Hyundai sound system I've ever tested. I got to do some more evaluation. We're still doing more members testing. I got to do the full sound system test, but really promising things here from the system. A lot of power, really rich sound, really good high ends as well. So that's been impressive. What else? Small annoyances like when you go to change lanes with the blind spot monitoring on, no one's next to you, you change your lane, but if there's somebody 2 lanes over, then as you get into that first lane over the left or right, then the car starts to freak out and be like, oh, don't merge into that person. It's like, I'm just merging the 1 lane. Calm down. What else? Other than that, pretty straightforward. So I'm going to get it back to the pump here, top it back off. We'll see what our final number is. We ended up putting in 2.731 gallons in for our final fill up here. So 100.3 divided by 2.761. And that's given us, okay, so right there, similar to the vehicle's readout, 36 MPG here for the Sonata N Line cruising on the highway. Again, not too bad considering EPA was quite a bit lower and the higher performance aspects of this car. And it'd be interesting to see how fast you could go and still meet that EPA number. 36 miles per gallon times that 15.9 gallon fuel tank in here is giving you a healthy effective highway cruising range at 70 of 570 miles here in the Sonata N Line. Now, I really want to test the new Sonata Hybrid because that should, in the ideal testing situation, get somewhere around 700 miles of total range. I'd love to give that one a try. But until then, this high performance model, still not doing too bad. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Sonata, check the link below, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.